Nissan. And after a very quiet start, as you pointed out, Donovan McNabb, a very effective run game of the Saints, opening up the passing game for Drew Brees.
Something that's rare for the New Orleans Saints, something we haven't seen so effective, and that's the run game being balanced with the passing game. Drew Brees, being in the league now for a while, understands how can you take pressure off of me, and that's by Mark Ingram picking up big yards. 2 touchdowns today, you know, in the Barrett area of Ben Watson and also lowering their fullback. But you also got to give credit to their defense. I talked about in the beginning, I thought they needed to apply pressure, get off on 3rd down, create turnovers, and they've done that. Now they need to do it in the second half to secure the win.
Steelers' first 3 drives went 38, 34, and 60, 2 of them ending on field goals. But their last 3 end in a 3-and-out, an interception, and then a missed 54-yard field goal try, the final play of the first half. The best game on defense the Saints have played in a long time, but a full half to go. Cadet out of his own end zone. And up to the 25. Let's check in downstairs with Carissa Thompson.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, Mike Tomlin not too happy, as you can imagine, headed into the locker room. I asked, what he can do to sort of temper that momentum that the Saints had. He goes, I don't care what they're doing. We cannot leave the points on the field that we've been doing. We got to convert. We know what we need to do. Conversely, for Sean Payton, as you guys mentioned, they only had 2 first downs through the first quarter and a half. Obviously got it going with that run game. He goes on the road. We have got to stick with that. That set up the play action. Biggest message for him, finish. It's been a thing all year long. They've got to do, guys.
Well, they're the 8th best rushing team in the NFL so far this year. And they give it to Ingram on first down, tripped up by Hayward, a gain of 2.
Pittsburgh's going to have to find a way to establish the line of scrimmage, continue to get pushed, clog up the holes a little bit to force Mark Ingram to start going east and west instead of north and south. But I'm interested to see now of this passing offense from the New Orleans Saints. Jimmy Graham has not received a catch yet. So if they get him involved in this offense, it opens up more for everyone else.
And tight ends had carved up this Steeler defense this entire year. Catch made by Colston up to the 33-yard line to bring up 3rd down and short. When you're in the huddle, do guys come back and do you sense frustration at all?
Are you calling them divas, Tom? Now, hey, look,
I would do that.
These receivers, they get frustrated. They'll come back and say, hey, I got him, just give me an opportunity. Well, as a quarterback, we're not going to force the ball, because when you force the ball, it creates turnovers. Now, I'm sure the defense, like Ike Taylor and most of these veterans, are starting to talk to Jimmy, and Jimmy's starting to get frustrated. But he's got to look back and understand what the team's doing.
Blown dead before it ever started.
Timeout, Pittsburgh. First team timeout, a 30-second timeout.
So on a 3rd down to begin this second half, Steelers are spending a timeout. Donovan, it doesn't matter whether you're playing in that NFC South where every team has 7 losses we brought up, or the AFC North where every team has 7 wins. Both these teams are fighting to get in the playoffs. Right. They're very, very much in it. So every game the rest of the way is a big one.
Every game's important. And I know everyone hears that it's like a cliche. But when you look at the Saints, if they continue to win, they will win their division. I think the same goes for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They've got the Baltimore Ravens, and they've also had the Cleveland Browns, who are playing well right now. So every game is important. And then when you go into the playoffs, you want to make sure you're playing at that high level.
Saints will get another crack at both Carolina and Atlanta. Steelers have 2 games against the Bengals. And it's incomplete on 3rd down. That ball may have been tipped. It looked like it was tipped. Well short of the intended receiver.
He's got to find the lane. He had one there, but great job there by Hayward of being able to get his arm up, which almost could have led to another first down. This offense has struggled on 3rd down in this game. Really, both sides of the ball have struggled. It's going to come down to who can convert more 3rd downs and eliminate turnovers.
Hayward's been all over the field. He is the one member of the Steelers defense that has showed up today. That one blown dead, but the punt.
We will re-kick the ball as the officials weren't in position to officiate the play. Still 4th down.
That might be the first I've ever heard of that. You know, for a lot of these referees, it's important they get in position. But, you know, if you're not in position, then why put the ball down? You put the ball down as an offense, a special teams, and defense, we're ready to go. So that's just a bad play call, or I should say bad assessment by the referees.
It looked like Antonio Brown had a little bit of room to return now. They're coming after this one. They just missed getting there. And Brown again will have a chance to bring it back. Fields at the 20. Covered beautifully by the Saints. Only a 2-yard return by Antonio Brown. Gonna look inside the Western PA Sports Museum, celebrating the rich tradition of sports here in this region. And it's all about football on Sundays here. First down, Le'Veon Bell, a couple of yards. Now you continue to ask the question, after Ben Roethlisberger followed through and made contact with Curtis Walton, injuring his right hand, is he still being affected by that?
Well, I think he is being affected. But, you know, when you get an injury like that, you get out of rhythm and you begin to lose your base, and that being your lower body. And for Ben, he started throwing the ball all upper body. And as a quarterback, you got to get back into rhythm in order for this team to be effective. And he's in rhythm, he'll be right where they need to be.
Good start here. Miller up to the 35, and that is a first down.
Great play call by Todd Haley, and that's ways of getting your quarterback in rhythm. Easy throws, hit your tight ends, hit your receivers at 6 yards. Now that confidence continues to rise, where offensive lines start to jump off on their defender and receivers get more push, so that the throws are a lot easier.
50-50.
Yeah.
Well, Carissa Thompson again checking with the medical staff of the Steelers, and they say that Roethlisberger is okay. That one batted in the air and intercepted by Cameron Jordan. So here the Saints come into Pittsburgh having not intercepted a pass in over 100 attempts, and they have 2 of them the last 3 Steeler possessions.
You know, you take a look here. Great job here by Cameron Jordan, being able to come off field, and not only that, but get your hands up. You got to get your hands up to at least give your secondary a chance. That was the big question. Talking to Sean Payton, basically what he said was, as a defensive line, we need to get more pressure on the opposing quarterback because our secondary has been in trouble because they have been covering for over 4 seconds.
Jordan's first career interception, and they give it to Ingram. And he's down to the 11-yard line. What a turnaround by this Saints defense. I mean, they were really kicked around these last couple of weeks, especially in the run game against Jeremy Hill and the Bengals 2 weeks ago, Forsett and the Ravens last week on Monday night.
Right.
And they have come to play here to Pittsburgh, a team that's been averaging 35 a game at home. That's Tune. Slips a tackle, and he is into the end zone. A touchdown broke away from Ike Taylor.
Again, when you play soft on the outside, you know, as a quarterback, you want to take what the defense gives you. Just a 3-step drop through a 6-yard route. That's just a great job on Tune's part of breaking away from Ike Taylor and then forcing himself into the end zone. Big question if he got in there. You know, Mike Tomlin, I'm sure, is looking at that right now. If he landed at the 1 with his elbow, they may call this one back.
Well, they're taking a look at it as they do every scoring play and every change of possession.
We will review the previous play.
If it stands for Tune, it would be his first career touchdown. Touchdown reception under review.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. It's touchdown.
So we were talking with Mike Pereira during the commercial break and a timeout. Unless there's definitive evidence that some part of that ball did not break the plane before the elbow went down, they're not going to overturn it.
you know, it's shocking because you see the elbow go down first, which is a bang-bang deal, and which is tough, you know, and only on instant replay where you see that. But I thought they would have reversed it, but understanding why they kept it as a touchdown because it wasn't definitive. But, you know, great job there with Mike Pereira, always doing an excellent job.
Nick Toon, they had high expectations for this young man when he came out of Wisconsin. Of course, his daddy was some kind of football player, the great Al Toon, for many years with the New York Jets. Inactive for all but 2 games today, his 3rd game of the year. And in 11 games in his career, only 7 catches.
You know, you see him start to emerge a little bit in this offense. You know, just a couple weeks ago, he started to pick it up. He and Kenny Stills both. But there's a comfort level with Drew Brees and Nick Toon.
Point after is good. It started with a tip ball, the interception by Jordan. Roethlisberger and the Steelers looking for answers. We talked about the Saints do not have an interception on defense in 112 passing attempts. That carried into this game today. And now all of a sudden they've intercepted Roethlisberger twice in his last 8 attempts. 2 touchdowns off 2 takeaways. And a 21-6 lead. Who saw this coming?
Not me. I tell you, when you think of the Saints, you always think on the road that they struggle. Well, today, you know, they're struggling on 3rd down, but they're still capitalizing on the opportunities. And that's the tribute of them just continue to work at it, and we'll see what happens. But Pittsburgh has had so many chances. They just have to take advantage here.
Marcus Wheaton out of his end zone had the big 41-yard return earlier in the game. Not this time. Dropped on the return at the 16 by Ronald Powell. Well, we have nearly an entire half to go. 21-6. The numbers on Roethlisberger are not good. I mean, this is a guy, his last 2 home games set an NFL record, throwing 12 touchdowns over the 2 games.
Yeah. And then he saw the brother of Rob Ryan. Then he ran into Rex Ryan in New York with the Jets. And was held to just 1 touchdown. You know, just talking to Ben about that, playing, you know, Rex Ryan now playing Rob. They're very similar. You want to be able to get them in long cadence so you can show their hand and see what blitzes they're doing to make it easier on the offense. But he's got to take advantage of these opportunities here.
Le'Veon Bell, a stiff arm on Hawthorne. Able to buy a couple of extra yards, but not much. Run out of bounds. Well, pretty good gain of the 20, a gain of almost 4.
Gain of 3, 2nd and 7.
I think this is something now, you look at the way that they've been playing, you got to find a way to kind of, you know, boost a little energy into this offense. Why not go no huddle here? You know, go no huddle, get Ben again back in command where he's spreading the ball around, hitting the intermediate passes with his receivers, and the rhythm is there. Utilize the run game with Le'Veon Bell to set up that play action downfield.
Blue 80! Blue 80!
Dumps it off to Bell out of the backfield, and that is a 1st down up to the 35-yard line. Tried to pull the trigger once, did Big Ben.
You know, he took a look downfield, and Antonio Brown decided to check it down to Le'Veon Bell, which is a great option. It's been a big option for him this year. Whenever you have man versus Le'Veon Bell, it works out in your favor. This young man has continued to improve, and it's shown not only can he run the football, but he also is a former receiver out of the backfield.
Well, Bell goes to the sideline. He just set an all-time Pittsburgh record for receiving yards by a running back in a season. And the rookie Dre Archer is in there. They put it in the hands of Miller, and that is a gain of 9 on 1st down.
Seeing a different type of offense here. You start out by running the football with Le'Veon Bell. You want to take a shot downfield to Antonio Brown, check it back down to Le'Veon Bell in the passing game. And who else do you go to keep things flowing? Your security blanket. Get it to Heath Miller and give him an opportunity to move on. Now you're back into that rhythm that we've seen over the last couple weeks.
Yeah, we got 50.
Blue 80! Blue 80!
Archer, the rookie out of Kent State. And he is met at the line of scrimmage and denied 1st down yardage by Hawthorne. I would imagine we'll see Bell right back in there, and yep, here he comes along with Johnson and an extra tight end in Spade on 3rd down and 1. Boy, you just get the feeling, granted 9 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter, but the Steelers really need this first down.
Yeah, they really do. And again, from where they started and the rhythm that we've seen, you know, this is one in which you think, okay, now we're just going to run the football, pound it, get the first down. But week after week, we're starting to see them pass the ball now on 3rd and short.
And the Saints want a timeout.
Timeout, New Orleans.
Talked about Roethlisberger the last 2 times on the home turf. Beyond belief. Very different game here today. 3rd down and a yard, and a second effort may have gotten the job done. May have gotten it done by Bell.
Excellent piece of running right there by Le'Veon Bell. They went with the all-out blitz, bringing everyone up.
Oh, you saw that spot.
Yeah, bad spot right there.
I mean, that is right at the 45-yard line. And they're saying first down.
Great job by Le'Veon Bell. Just putting his head down and driving his legs to pick up those extra yards. They had unblocked defenders in there to make the tackle, but just not able to bring him down.
50-50. No.
Alert, alert.
Alert. Alert.
Black.
Alert. Set.
Pitch it to Bell. And he's up to midfield. You heard several players, not only the quarterback, say alert, alert, alert. What might that mean? I know you don't run their offense, Donovan, but what does that mean?
Most of the time when you hear quarterbacks call an alert, if they have a 4 weak or 4 strong, if you're running the football to the strong side and you know that you can't block the 4th defender, you want to now bring it over to the left side, or the weak side, you may call it from the formation. So right now you hear him calling 50 being the Mike linebacker. It starts there, and if you feel like you're getting blitzed somewhere else, they change the play.
Look at the nimble Roethlisberger, who says he's getting too old to move around. Pretty nifty footwork right there.
You know what, Ben Roethlisberger, coming into this season, talking to him just yesterday, said he finally worked out with a trainer for the first time in his career. He found out when you get older, you need to change some things up. Guy with a nutritionalist, start to work a little bit more on his footwork and obviously his balance, and you're starting to see it a little bit. Now I'm just wondering when he'll be able to utilize it a little bit more, because now that puts more pressure on the defense knowing that he'll be able to do that.
Tough throw to make right there. Incomplete. Lofton in coverage. We check in with Joel Klatt back in Los Angeles.
Tom, we go to Tampa Bay. Andy Dalton down 10-7. Finds A.J. Green. Beautiful catch in the end zone. 14-10 Bengals. First lead of the day. They're looking to stay on top in the AFC North. Back to Pittsburgh. Tom, Donovan, and Carissa.
Tell you one thing about Andy Dalton, he will make some Bengal fans crazy. There's no doubt about that. But 3 years in the league as a starter, 3 years in a row to the playoffs.
His numbers rank amongst the best that have done it. You know, so keep an eye on him.
Well, we are. There's a catch made by Miller, and that's good enough for a first down to the 30. And you can rest assured, everybody around this town is keeping an eye on Andy Dalton, too, because those two teams will collide next week.
Absolutely, and they're also paying attention probably about that San Diego-Baltimore game, just to keep an eye on that as well.
And Cleveland-Buffalo.
And Cleveland. So I just think for the Pittsburgh Steelers at this point, you got to take care of what's there for you. And the New Orleans Saints are here right in front of them. If they continue to drive and finish this off with a touchdown, it's going to do wonders for this football team.
10th play of the drive, and they find Bell out of the backfield. He beat Hawthorne in coverage, and that's a first down to the 18-yard line.
You talk about how New Orleans has struggled over the last couple of weeks, you know, covering tight ends, covering running backs. And for a guy like Le'Veon Bell, when you look up and see Hawthorne covering one-on-one versus your running back Le'Veon Bell, you have to take full advantage of it. just in this drive alone, Le'Veon Bell's caught a couple passes. Heath Miller's caught a couple passes. The receivers really haven't been involved in this drive.
No.
So you have to continue to attack it. So now when you get the soft coverage on the outside, you can utilize your receivers.
Play number 11 on this drive for the Steelers. Pump fake. And he had an open Heath Miller and missed it. He had gotten behind both Vaccaro and Lofton in the back of the end zone.
You know, if you take a look here, great route running by Heath Miller. Just kind of stumbled a little bit. Would have ended up being a touchdown. But again, the linebacking crew from the New Orleans Saints. You talk about Hawthorne. You talk about Lofton. Those are the guys you got to attack. And just in this drive alone, I mentioned it last play. That's the weak spot of that defense, right down the middle. With Jarius Byrd being out at the safety position, you got to continue to attack it.
And then they lost Raphael Bush, his replacement. And they've got Pierre Warren, his second straight start. And right there down the middle. And Warren trying to strip it out of there, but Antonio Brown. A flag is down on the play. Brown down to the 3, and we wait on the penalty.
Looks like it may be against New Orleans somewhere in the secondary.
Illegal use of hands to the face, number 29 defense. The penalty is declined. Result of the play, first down.
Great job. When you get a cover 2 look right here, the middle of the field is where you want to attack. I talked about their safeties, and their safeties have not been effective in this game. And why not go to your security blanket, which is Antonio Brown, the best wide receiver, arguably, probably in the NFL at this particular point. If you look at his numbers and the way he and Ben have been playing, you have to put him amongst the top 2.
180!
12 men on the field. Defense prior to the snap. After this to the goal remains first down.
So it goes from just outside the 1 to inside the 1. And words back and forth, it appears. Sean Payton wanted to know from Ryan what's going on.
Yeah, I think everybody's trying to know what's going on. Yeah, see, this has been ongoing for weeks for these two. You know, you look at this defense messing up, offense not doing well. They need to run the football here.
Bell will find the end zone.
That's just utilizing speed around that corner. No hole opened up, being able to utilize your speed, getting around that corner, and a great job diving. You take a look here, fullback coming to lead the hole, no hole wide open. Just take what you get. Just utilize your speed, get to the pylon, beat the defender there, which ended up being a big-time touchdown for him.
That's only the 3rd rushing touchdown by Bell. In fact, until he scored a rushing touchdown in the win against Tennessee late in the game. That was the Steelers' first rushing score in 31 quarters. But they get it here to get right back in it. Roethlisberger mighty good on that drive. 21-13. Our aerial coverage today provided by Nationwide. First touchdown scoring drive of the game for the home team. 13 plays, 83 yards. Roethlisberger hitting on 5 of 7 for 65 of the 83. Cadet a yard out of his end zone. And out across the 20. Penalty flag comes in late.
During the return, holding. Number 35 of the receiving team. 10-yard penalty. The first down.
First time this crowd in Pittsburgh has come to life after the Steelers score a touchdown. And the Saints backed up after the penalty on first down from the 11. Drop it off to Ingram out of the backfield. And he is stood up by Jason Worlds. No gain. Maybe a loss of a yard.
You know, you look at this defense and, you know, Drew Brees having an opportunity to spread the ball around, haven't been so effective when it comes to third down performance. But first and second down, you got to be impressed with running the football and dinking and dunking to these receivers and also to the running backs to get it in somewhat manageable third down situations.
Well, Graham is standing on the sideline. He does not have a catch today. In fact, they have not even thrown to Graham. Steelers have really mixed it up in coverage on him today. And what they've lost in Graham, they've made up for in Kenny Stills.
You know, if you take a look at this route, he had Kenny Stills as well as Toon wide open in the middle of the football field. Don't know if there was a miscommunication there with the linebackers. They decided to come with pressure, but the linebackers and safeties have to fill the void, and right there they left the middle of the field wide open with Toon and just left right there on the edge with Kenny Stills.
Stills 3 receptions, 75 yards. And back to the ground. Steelers reaching around like that ball might be loose. And Kiesel will walk off with an injury. He is in tremendous pain. Is Brett Kiesel heading back to the Steelers sideline.
Looks like it may be a shoulder injury there. Can't lose the big fella. Sheared the beard. They need him in there.
Ingram. And once more, step for step with him is Jason Worilds. Worilds a backup to James Harrison and Lamar Woodley his first 3 years in the league. Had 8 sacks his first time as a starter a year ago. And well, if Kiesel's hurting, you got to really be hurt.
Well, they're really thin at the defensive line. You know, you talk about, you know, guys who aren't in. Steve McClendon's out. You know, they've got Cam Thompson, obviously Cameron Hayward. But take a look here. This is a big play here.
Stills again left all alone, and he will race to the end zone on a 3rd and 10. He got behind Ike Taylor, who's playing for the first time since September after breaking his arm, and twice long completions behind Taylor, and this one a 69-yard score.
Run a double move here on Ike Taylor, out and up. Ike slipped there on the defense. But great job here by Drew Brees. But it all starts up front. You're not able to go through these reads because it takes a while on double move. Look at that horseshoe right there. A great job by the offensive line, giving Drew Brees time to peruse the defense and find the open man. And usually when you have that, it leads to something big like this.
Well, they're going to take a look. Saw a few of the Steelers on the sideline pointing at the sideline as though Stills had stepped out of bounds. But no indication of that. And now a point after try by Shane Graham to make it 28-13. Well, how about that for an answer for Drew Brees and the Saints?
I'll tell you, just after the Baltimore game, this is the way to respond. You get back and you're seeing they're playing that zone defense. Great job, Sean Payton, dialing up here. Kenny Stills running a double move, offensive line buying time for Drew to keep his eyes downfield, and Kenny Stills just doing a wonderful job finishing his 4th catch for 144 yards. I tell you, we talk so much about Jimmy Graham. Well, sometimes when you're in their offense and out there in formation and they're double teaming you, it allows others to elevate their game and make big plays like this.
Those 144 receiving yards that Donovan talked about, a career high for Stills. Got him out of Oklahoma in the 5th round a year ago.
Father, I think, also was a professional athlete who, you know, obviously put some wisdom into his young man and prepared him. He left school early, came out and really found a home here in New Orleans. Drew Brees spoke highly of him. Great route runner. We've seen how effective he was in college, and now he's showing that he can play on the professional ranks.
Stills had a good game in that loss to Baltimore. He had 8 catches, a career high, 98 yards. Taylor, we mentioned, coming back for the first time since he broke his arm in September. Steelers really felt like they were going to get a look at what their defense is all about today, with so many guys healthy that have been out for a while. And then a couple of others are still necked up. And Wheaton, his second good return of the day, had one for 41 yards, and this one up to the 25. Week 13 continues later on CBS. And for some of you as well on Fox. Big one for the Cardinals and the Falcons. And later tonight on NBC, tomorrow night on ESPN. A couple of guys heading to Canton, Ohio one day when their careers are over. And you see the numbers today. Breeze out-dueling Roethlisberger thus far.
Seems that we have some confusion on the defense for New Orleans.
Hey, 50. Yeah. 50. Blue 80. Blue 80.
41 to play in the third quarter. Roethlisberger drops it off to Le'Veon Bell. Across midfield. Run out of bounds at the 27-yard line.
Great job right there with Ben, being able to utilize Le'Veon Bell here on the route. Had man-to-man coverage, working the inside of the route. Linebacker Hawthorne again having to cover man-to-man versus Le'Veon Bell. Great job getting upfield. If he would have got one more block by Antonio Brown, may have ended up in the end zone.
Career-long reception for Le'Veon Bell. That one at 48 yards, and an injured Saint is all the way back into 15. That's Akeem Hicks. Talked about all the injuries. Both of these defenses. Saints last week lost Broderick Buckley. They've already lost Bird and Bush at safety. Glenn Foster, Benny Sunseri, another safety. And of course the receiver Brandon Cooks. Let's check in downstairs with Carissa.
You guys are talking about all these injuries. Unfortunately for the Steelers, Breck Kiesel is doubtful to return with a left tricep injury. Medical staff kept trying to come up to him and didn't really want any part of that. Mike Tomlin wrapped him up. He seemed okay, but I'm getting the report that he's doubtful to return.
All right, Carissa Thompson, thank you very much. Steelers trying to come right back, scoring a touchdown, their first touchdown on their last possession.
Yeah. Zone it.
Saints needed 5 plays to answer that score. And now Roethlisberger throwing across his body to the end zone, and it's incomplete.
Here we had a naked bootleg. He tried to come across and possibly get Wheaton across the field. Didn't have him, but he had Antonio Brown standing over wide open on the right sideline. Sometimes as a quarterback, this is not what you do. You don't throw the ball across the field because it could end up being a turnover. But sometimes you got to take a shot.
Hey, 57. Set! Oh. Blue 80.
Bell. Wrapped up by Jordan. To the running room there. Jordan had the interception on the tip pass, which set up the Saints touchdown.
Cameron Jordan's been playing well for him, especially in this game. You look at some of the takeaways in the last 4 weeks. He's had one takeaway, and today he's found himself over to Ben Roethlisberger for a couple sacks and an interception. So this is one in which, it could be a breakout game here for Cameron Jordan, but they have to find a way to finish. They've struggled over the last couple weeks of finishing games.
False start. Number 73 offense. 5-yard penalty remains. 3rd down.
Ramon Foster, the left guard. Right there.
Yeah, you're in trouble when the first person you look at is the referee when you flinch. You're telling on yourself.
50-50-50.
All right, so 3rd and 9 backs them up 5 to 3rd and 14. And they will not run a play before the clock will end the 3rd quarter. Well, it's shaping up to be an exciting finish. 28-13, Saints in front. Back after a word from your local Fox station. Set to begin the 4th quarter here in Pittsburgh. By and large, this crowd has really been quieted by Drew Brees and the Saints. Brees with 4 touchdowns today, has not thrown an interception. 3rd down at 14. Incomplete. Just led Bill a little too far, did Roethlisberger. If he catches that ball, it's a 1st down.
Yeah, but he had to leave his feet. It might have been about two yards short. You know, Ben's been a little off today, I mean, to say the least. You know, some of his balls here, his base is too wide. He's forcing it using all upper body. This isn't a Ben Roethlisberger we've seen definitely playing at home, you know, over the last couple of weeks. You know, but one thing's for sure, this game is close enough. So if he happens to get back in rhythm quickly, he'll put him in great chance of winning.
47-yard field goal try by Sweezum. This guy's become automatic. But it's somewhere between 40 and 50 yards. 28 in a row from that distance.
Interception there by Cameron Jordan, creating a big turnover. Then here, missing a tackle with Nick Two, being able to explode into the end zone. And then here, Le'Veon Bell capitalizing to get back in the end zone to make it close. And on the defensive end, just giving up. Ike Taylor getting beat here by Kenny Stills, which leads to the big-time touchdown.
Well, you take a look at our game summary as we're just underway here in the 4th quarter in Pittsburgh. Told you about Drew Brees, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, very efficient. A struggle for Ben Roethlisberger. You wonder when he hit his hand on Curtis Lofton on a throw in the 1st quarter if it had anything to do with really some missed opportunities with some missed receivers in this game today.
You know what I would say it had? It's done wonders for the New Orleans Saints, because now they can just bring pressure up the middle and force Ben to try to get off his spot and get outside the pocket. But for the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's kind of pulled them back a little bit because they want to run the football. But in order to run the football and be balanced, you have to be effective throwing the football. He's inaccurate. He's kind of wavering of where he wants to go with the football. He's indecisive. And so for Ben Roethlisberger, I think it's important they get back on the sideline. Maybe talk to Todd Haley a little bit about getting back to the basics of the offense. The 3-step, the 5-step. Get the ball out of my hands a little bit to make sure the defense kind of softens to now start to run the football more and set up to get over the top, maybe with Antonio Brown or possibly Wheat.
And you brought it up. That's really how they got it going last week. I mean, this was a Steeler team, or 2 weeks ago. They had last week off. They were down 11 points in the 4th quarter on the road in Tennessee and had to rally to win that game by 3. We're going to need a 4th quarter rally here today. Cadet out of the end zone. And he is stopped right at the 20-yard line. Well, many NFL athletes grew up playing in communities all across this great country of ours, and now through NFL Play 60, they're encouraging kids in neighborhoods everywhere to come out and play for 60 minutes a day. How about that? Visit NFLrush.com/play60 to learn more. Get off the video game and get out and run around a little bit.
I say that. I mean, what happened to recess? What happened to getting out and having fun, king of the hill, maybe play a little flag football now and then? These kids need to get outside and get active.
First down, they give it to Ingram. That'll be a gain of 3, nearly 4. Ingram, his first 3 years in the league, as Donovan talked about earlier. You know, he was sharing carries and sharing playing time when he was healthy enough to play, frequently injured. They had Pierre Thomas and Chris Ivory and Darren Sproles, among others. He's already surpassed by far his number of rushing attempts this year than the average of his first 3 years, and the same holds true in rushing yards. They're leaning on him hard right now. Play action. Boy, and Breeze is just picking his defense apart. Josh Hill, backup tight end, up to the 40-yard line.
Again, you know, we talk about the run and Mark Ingram and how effective he's been in this offense. This is what happens when you run the football that way. Now you start to get a little man coverage. You got linebackers like Spence covering the backup tight end. You want to question now, if you're a New Orleans fan, where's Jimmy Graham? Well, with Jimmy Graham now, you're rotating different guys. Kenny Stills stepping up. Nick Toon stepping up. Now we have Hill also doing the same. So look for this Saints team to get back to running the football.
Pumping and sacked. Timmons the first one there. Worlds was there as well. They'll give Worlds a sack.
You know, sometimes offensive coordinators get too cute. And this is right here. This is when you're being defined as being too cute. You need to run the football. You need to get back to establishing the run game. They went with an out and up. You know, there it was covered two. They went with another double move on both sides, mirrored routes. They end up doing a great job in the secondary, which led to Drew Brees holding the football entirely too long.
And standing on the sideline on a 2nd and 17 is Graham. Polamalu on the blitz. Ingram picked it up. And is that a catch by Stills? They are saying that is a reception for a first down, again in front of Taylor. Unbelievably, the yards continue to pile up for Stills.
That's a great catch right there by that young man. You know.
Or are they saying now incomplete?
Yeah, that right there is a catch. Ball went through his hands, hit him right in the legs in the breastbasket, and he was able to corral it. Sean Payton will find out at the end, and he'll probably get this first down.
New Orleans is challenging the ruling on the field that the pass was complete.
So the call on the field is an incompleted pass. Sean Payton challenges that, and while they take a look, we'll step aside. Breeze under pressure there, took a lick from Polamalu, but we'll see if he completed the 2nd and 17. All right, we get the call.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field is a catch. Ball will be placed on the 49-yard line. New Orleans will not be charged a timeout or a challenge.
It's interesting there, Mike. It looked like one official said incompletion. Another official said completed pass. How do they make the decision on what the actual call is on the field?
Well, whoever stands the firmest, but usually it's the negative that wins out, and that's the incomplete pass. But you saw really here that the ball never touches the ground, and that's what they looked for. Got control with the right hand, and then the left knee hit before he rolled out of bounds. So good, solid reversal.
We thank Mike Pereira back in Los Angeles. Saw a first down and a run to Ingram, who lost a yard. Cam Thomas chasing him down as we close in on the 12-minute mark. 12 points of spread. You know, it's interesting, you sit around and you talk about game planning, and boy, you got to stop this guy if you're going to beat him. If somebody would have told you Jimmy Graham did not have a single catch with 12 minutes to go, you'd say the Saints are in trouble. Goes to show, not necessarily the case, because he doesn't have a catch. And they got it going on right now. Ingram to the 44-yard line. 3rd down coming up. Or Pierre Thomas, I beg your pardon.
Yeah, Pierre Thomas. And they're in a great rotation right now. That was Pierre Thomas's 3rd rush of the game. He's coming in fresh on the sideline, able to give Mark Ingram an opportunity to rest a little bit. Jimmy Graham came into the game. Obviously, he draws a lot of attention anytime he's lined up in the formation. If it's a tight end, a slot receiver, or even split out wide by himself. So here on 3rd down, again, this is one that they have to clean up. Haven't been effective, but this is an important play for them.
And down goes Breeze at the 47-yard line. There is a penalty flag, however, in the secondary.
Holding. Pass interference.
Holding. Number 41 defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
That's Antwan Blake, who's filling in for the injured Bryce McCain from earlier in the game. Well, he had his hands all over Morgan. Vince Williams, a would-be sack, not to be. So an automatic first down at the Pittsburgh 37. Colston dropped it.
It's been something that's been bothering him all season. He's been dropping a lot of balls. You know, for Marcus Colston, it's rare. He's got to get back on track. I tell you, they needed that play to keep this thing alive, especially coming off a big penalty to get the first down.
Inside the 20 and run out of bounds inside the 10 down to the 7-yard line. And Taylor doing some pushing and shoving down there along the sideline with Joe Morgan. Well, there are a lot of guys trying to get in there and get people separated, but now a few more of them get tangled up. Officials handled that beautifully. See what happens here. Looks like Mitchell grabs a hold of Ingram's face mask. Then the hit by Taylor.
And then Robinson came in.
Morgan shoving Taylor. Headbutt the other way.
It's just an excellent job by Mark Ingram here, exploding, finding the hole, and utilizing his speed to get to the corner. It's something we've been talking about. He's got 100 yards rushing. You know, he's carried this streak on of 100 yards.
After the play was over, personal foul, defense. Tap the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
Well, he could have gotten Ike Taylor actually twice on that play. He could have got him for the hit once Ingram was out of bounds, and then certainly for the headbutt on Morgan, although Morgan had shoved him to start it. But that's the only thing they saw.
Well, I think when the flag was thrown, when Ben Watson then came over, I think it was, you know, one of the defensive linemen that come over and got physical. Cam Thomas, you know, one of those guys, and they really threw the flag on him.
Timeout called by New Orleans with 10:29 to play. You know, Donovan, you played this game and played it so brilliantly for so many years, 5 times leading your Eagles to the NFC Championship game and once to a Super Bowl. And, you know, it doesn't matter how long you watch any sport, but especially this year in the NFL, just when you think you have it figured out. And here we are, the Saints, they lose 3 in a row at home where they never lose. Steelers have been nearly unbeatable at home. And New Orleans has dominated this game after the first quarter. It's
funny you bring it up. Talking to Mike Tomlin, talking to Ike Taylor, Brent Keys, all the veterans, they looked at it in the sense of, you know, don't be fooled by the 4-7 record. This is a team that's strong on offense. They're also defensively, they can make plays. So, you know, make sure you stay prepared, treat it just like they're an undefeated football team, and you got to come out and give all that you have.
Saints have scored on 4 of their last 5 possessions. And all of those, by the way, are touchdowns. And make it 5 out of 6 on a touchdown to Colston.
Colston in the end zone. Touchdown 6.
This has been the kind of performance today that the Saints envisioned when this season began.
You know, this is just a great job of Drew Brees, just recognizing, going against Antwan Blake, who recently had the penalty, the holding penalty against, to go up with your 6'4" wide receiver Marcus Colston. Throw a jump ball, back shoulder, however you have to throw it to make him compete for the pass. Marcus Colston, who dropped the ball about 3 plays before, comes back to finish things off the right way.
What a combination they have been. Breeze, who no one wanted. Colston, the 252nd pick. They both came in 06. That's their 66th touchdown connection, 6th best of all time. What a performance it has been today by this New Orleans Saints team. And you say team. They've done it on offense. Yes. Touchdowns, 5 of their last 6 possessions. Started very ugly today. First quarter, really first quarter and a half, they only had 2 first downs. And now all of a sudden Breeze has thrown 5 touchdowns without a turnover. Looking forward to this weekend. Oregon already beaten by Arizona, their only loss this year, trying to get into that Final Four, as is Ohio State. That'll be the Big Ten title game on Saturday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, right here on Fox.
Blue 80! Blue 87!
There'll be a whole lot of passing going on here. Steelers are down 35-16, 10:22 to go.
It's no huddle time. This is when you need to get on the mark and get things going quickly. Pittsburgh's been very effective when they go no huddle. You know, expect the intermediate shots, you know, to come between the 10 and 8 yard completions, and then set up for the big play.
Pump fake. Flag comes down. Miller up to the 27.
Looks like a holding there by Lofton.
And he was
holding, number 50. Defense penalties declined. Result of the play is a first down.
That's an automatic first down. Don't know what Coach Tomlin was barking about there, but
5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Perhaps he knew exactly what he was talking about there.
Well, he wanted to get the completion, also add 5 yards to it. So we're going to get a good first down. But again, this is what you have to do. You have to attack the middle of the football field versus these linebackers. If it's your running back, if it's your tight ends, your slot defense, whatever it may be, you have to attack down the middle of the football field.
Look one way, come back the other way. And across the middle, it's Antonio Brown for a first down up to the 36-yard line. Brown getting his catches today. 5 receptions, 77 yards, but it hasn't been that back-breaking reception today as it's been seemingly every week this year.
Well, that's because they haven't been in rhythm. And if you take a look here, I mean, you get a couple completions, and at this point in the game, the secondary is just going to soften up, keep everything in front. They don't want to give up the big play behind the safeties. So, yeah, you'll get about 8, 9 catches in a game like this because of that. But they needed those explosive plays in the second quarter. They needed them early in the third quarter. You know, now it's just trying to play catch-up, and you're not allowing them to get behind you.
Blue 20. Blue 20.
Precisely the kind of passing and receptions that Donovan just referred to. Make a catch, you'll gain 8. Make a catch, you gain 9. That one dropped. Never had it cleanly.
Yeah, that's rare for Heath Miller to drop a ball like that. But expect them to go right back to that. They're playing the same coverage the whole way through. So just go kick your dink and dunks over the football, maybe out on the edges and the slots.
Play it off to Bell. And he's at the 46-yard line. Will bring up third down and 10.
Stop by Walker.
You begin to wonder watching this Pittsburgh Steelers offense of when they will at least take another shot downfield. I know that they're playing the 2 high safeties, and here in this look here, you got single high safety. This is when you want to be able to get over the top. But on third down, you got to get the ball out quickly because you know you're getting blitzed.
Wait. Come on, Pounce. Come on, 20. Blue, what's up?
That's too high, and once more an interception chance for Patrick Robinson. It's incomplete, and Steelers, they have to go for it.
Yes. You know, Mike Tomlin and Ben Roethlisberger understood each other there. You have to go for it. You got to find a way to get back into this game, and punting's just not going to get it done. But for Ben Roethlisberger, you can't keep double clutching and double pumping in the pocket, because now you're going to start to force throws, which will lead to turnovers. So he's got to get back in rhythm, find a way to get this first down to keep the chains moving.
Heavy pressure gets it away. And diving to try and get to that first down marker is Marcus Weech. Boy, this is going to be very close. And remember, that's a fourth down catch. And they're going to bring out the chains for a measurement. Great effort there by Wheaton.
Time out for a measurement.
You can see how far he is by the time they start grabbing a hold of him.
Watch that knee right there.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the only problem. You know, I think even if they're remotely, if they're good here, I think Sean Payton probably would throw the flag.
First down. And, I mean, Payton
He's
nearly running to the spot. He says not a chance, and he looks to be correct. Well, again, let's see where the ball is, though, when that knee does hit the ground.
New Orleans is challenging on the ruling on the field. The Pittsburgh did not make the line to gain. Timeout.
Payton is challenged and won once already today.
Oh, look at the pound there. The little pound from Rob and Sean. All right.
After reviewing the play, the runner was down at the 45-yard line. First down, New Orleans. New Orleans will not be charged a timeout. And since they've won 2 challenges.
Not even close. You can read the lips of Rob Ryan.
It's feeling good, huh?
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, you know, you talked about it going to break. There you see the knee down and ball not at the first down red line mark. Now, look, there's 4 weeks left to go.
Yeah.
After this game today. And frequently the term is used and overused about, you know, backs against the wall and every cliche you can think of. But with all the success the New Orleans Saints have had over the last number of years, this truly was a game they needed to show up.
Yes.
You look at their schedule the rest of the way. They'll play at home against Carolina.
Right.
Go to Chicago, big one against Atlanta. They're all big. Then you go to Tampa Bay at the end of the year, and you look at the Falcons going to Green Bay, play the Steelers at home in New Orleans and Carolina. Which one would you want?
So it's safe to say that we think the New Orleans Saints probably will be better off making it to the playoffs here.
Ready, Blue 90.
Looks like we
Full
have
start, number 89. Offense, 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
You know, you look at Carolina, and that's a reigning division champion. Ever since they lost Greg Hardy,
right?
Very early this year, they have not been the
Jordan
same
Gross,
defense.
their offensive tackle, who decided to retire. Their running back situation hasn't truly been healthy enough for Cam Newton with D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart. The defense hasn't been the same as far as getting off the field on third down. The thing that I look at when it comes to New Orleans Saints, they play Atlanta twice. That's a team they always rise for. They play well against the Atlanta Falcons. Then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to end things off. Probably works in their favor.
Well, big news with the Cleveland Browns. How about it, Joel Klatt?
That's right, Tom. We go to Buffalo. Hoyer benched, Manziel in, and he leads the Browns on an 8-play, 80-yard drive, takes it in himself. Show him the money. You know that's coming. Johnny Manziel brings the Browns within 10. It's 20-10. Tom, Donovan, and Carissa.
Well, I tell you what, you talk about now quarterback controversy supreme with the Browns very much in the hunt.
Well, you better be ready for a little showtime if you're going to put Johnny Manziel in there. One thing's for sure, though. Yeah, Brian Hoyer had been struggling just last week, even though we focused so much on Josh Gordon coming back and how effective he was in the passing game. I believe that Brian Hoyer turned the football over 3 or 4 times in that game. And that's something you just can't do for a football team that's trying to form an identity and in a close race here with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, I mean, you got the Browns losing. The Ravens are leading. The Bengals are hanging on by a single point in the final minute and a half in Tampa. But the Buccaneers have the football in that game. And here the Steelers are really getting run over. I mean, there's no other way to describe it.
No, this just hasn't been what we've seen from the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially playing late in the season. You go back when they were 8-8 the last couple years, and you wonder what was it or what could they bring in to get them over the hump. Well, offensively, Ben Roethlisberger's numbers have been great. Antonio Brown's numbers have been great. Le'Veon Bell's numbers have been great. They brought the old band back on defense. Well, it just hasn't been the same defense that we've seen over the years. They wanted to get back to playing physical football, and that's something that Ike Taylor, Brent Kiesel, Mike Tomlin talked about, and that's something they felt like had been missing from this football team. Well, we haven't seen that today. The New Orleans Saints have really brought it to the Pittsburgh Steelers of being physical by running the football, being effective on play action. They haven't been great on third down. Right now, I think they're at 50%, but it's still something to be said about how they're playing.
So the Steelers letting the play clock expire. They'll take the penalty. Or call the timeout.
The Saints allowed it to get the penalty.
Now the punt. Antonio Brown will let it bounce. A lot of shaking heads on one side, a lot of shaking hands and smiling on the other. You know, before today, the only NFC South team to beat an AFC North team this year, one time it happened. And that was Tampa Bay stunning the Steelers here in Week 4. Completion made to Wheaton up to the 22-yard line. Here you have New Orleans. 5.5 minutes away from beating an AFC North team. Tampa Bay within field goal range in the final seconds, trying to knock off Cincinnati. So you could have 2 of them in one day. Miller be tackled in the open field up to the 27-yard line, and everything in hurry-up mode right now.
This is something I felt like they should have done a whole lot earlier for this football team to be effective, get back in rhythm. They do a great job in the no-huddle offense, just thinking and dunking. And it's good for the quarterback, Ben Roethlisberger, to get into a rhythm like this.
Well, you know, we're talking about the Bengals there. Today was a game they figured was a gimme. I mean, you're on the road at Tampa Bay because look what they are facing over the Final Four. Steelers twice. They go to Cleveland, who beat them already. Denver comes into Cincinnati. The Ravens, on paper, theoretically have the easiest schedule of the bunch. Browns have divisional games against the Bengals in Baltimore. And they talk about these Steelers playing the Bengals twice. Batted down at the line of scrimmage by Cameron Jordan. He had a tip pass and he intercepted a tip pass.
He's having a day today. I tell you, for Cameron Jordan, you know, this has been his day to possibly, you know, kickstart the later part of the season. You know, it was big questions early on in the season of how they were going to generate pass rush and get to the opposing quarterback. Gillette gets paid at the beginning of the season. Cameron Jordan really hasn't been himself. The last couple games, he's starting to pick it up a little bit. And this game, he's dominating.
Penalty flag down. Miller for a first down close to midfield.
Holding. Number 68 offense. 10-yard penalty, remains second down.
Well, that'll be taken away on the holding call against Kelvin Beachum.
On Gillette there, just mentioned, you know, the 2 guys, Gillette being paid at the beginning of the season. you know, had a great game against Baltimore early on last week. And, you know, they're trying to bring more and more pressure. If it's from Rob Ryan deciding to blitz. A lot of times he's going all out blitz when you don't want him to. But he's trying to get his secondary out of coverage so much. They've been, you know, just been on the top of coverage. You know, opposing offenses have been able to create that big play. And now playing a team like this where they're playing pretty solid, we'll see what happens next week for them.
And Roethlisberger is dropped by Jordan.
Mike Adams is having a bad day today. I tell you, you know, every time you look up, you see 94 somewhere around Ben Roethlisberger. Gillette again coming around with, versus Beecham. But here, just a straight up speed move, being able to bull rush, come inside. Mike Adams getting beat, Cameron Jordan able to finish the play. And speaking of finishing the play, that's been part of the problem for the New Orleans Saints. Yep. They haven't been able to finish games, losing games in the fourth quarter. I believe 4 to 6 times this year. Yep. And that probably cost them wins.
Waiting to make the catch. And he'll step out of bounds at the 34-yard line. Saints have blown 6 games this year where they had a lead. As Donovan mentioned, 4 of them coming in the fourth quarter of games.
Have a face mask here.
Personal foul, grabbing the face mask, number 74, defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's Corey White, 24. .401 to go.
Starting to empty out a little bit here in the stadium.
Waiting for a football.
Football would definitely help.
I think some of the fans took it home with them. Boy, both of these cities just have such incredible fans. You know, just on the plane flying in here. Happen to be on the same flight with a lot of, I'm assuming, Steeler fans that were either, you know, out of town maybe during the Thanksgiving Day holiday, and some of the Saints fans who were coming into Pittsburgh for the weekend. And I mean, that entire plane ride, they were giving it back and forth to each other. And Donovan, you played so many years, not as many obviously inter-conference games as intra-conference games, but well, what great followings both of these franchises have.
There's a lot of pride here when it comes to New Orleans and also Pittsburgh. You know, for all sports, you talk about the New Orleans Pelican basketball team with Anthony Davis and the emergence that he's brought to that city, and then the football team winning the Super Bowl, to Pittsburgh here with Sidney Crosby and the Pittsburgh Penguins, to Pittsburgh Panthers, to now the Steelers.
Andrew McCutchen.
Andrew McCutchen. You know, so for a franchise like the Pittsburgh Steelers and also the New Orleans Saints, it's a battle. And so they look forward to this opportunity, obviously for the Saints and also for the Steelers to trying to move up in their division.
Roethlisberger finds Wheaton inside the 10, first and goal, Steelers. You know, it's so interesting when you look at some of the great quarterbacks. 2 of them we have here today. As that one is thrown up into the air and batted away, beautifully defended by Robinson. You know, it's always surprising when you see some of the numbers when you're throwing for more than 300 yards. There is a penalty flag, by the way, on the near side.
Eagle, you say hands to the face, number 28. Defense, 5-yard penalty or half the distance of the goal, automatic first down.
You know, oftentimes when a quarterback throws for over 300 yards, I think a lot of fans all of a sudden assume that means it's been a good day. That's more times than not the case.
Yeah, you want to get those garbage numbers toward the end, and that's what we're seeing right now from Ben and his wide receivers. The same could be said last week with New Orleans when they played Baltimore. If you look up and see Drew Brees' numbers with 120 QB rating, you would have thought they had a great chance in that game.
Go to the end zone, incomplete. There to back that up, Roethlisberger today. Because of all these completions here the last couple of drives when the Saints are just giving them, 8, 10, 12-yard throws. It's his 34th career 300-yard passing game. The Steelers are one game under 500. When he throws for 300 or more, it's about to go to 200.
Yeah. Those are stats at the quarterback you don't want to hear. You want to put up great numbers, but you don't want to put up great numbers and go into the losing category. I tell you, for this Pittsburgh Steelers team, it's about for them getting back to physical football, and that's running the football and playing strong defense, and however they got to do it. Much credit to this New Orleans football team, especially this defense. We see on the sideline Rob Ryan and Sean Payton going back and forth, but this is something to be said about how they're applying pressure from their defensive line. They know that they're attacking their linebackers and safeties, and they've been effective with Le'Veon Bell and also Heath Miller. But their corners have played well. Keenan Lewis, also we talk about Robinson, who should have had 2 interceptions today, but they've played well all day. Here, look up for all-out blitz.
Touchdown to Antonio Brown.
Fantasy football lovers will love that.
Yep. Brown, 6 reception, 90 yards. Make it now 7 receptions for 94 and a touchdown.
Good?
Yeah.
Set! Blue 20. Blue 20.
They go for 2 and successfully to Antonio Brown. Makes it 35-24. We take a look ahead next week, a Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader. America's Game of the Week, Mr. McNabb, your longtime team, the Philadelphia Eagles, dominating the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day here on Fox. Now the defending Super Bowl champs come to town.
Well, you know what? You go back to that Dallas game, the one thing that they made a point of emphasis was stopping the run. And stopping the run with DeMarco Murray, who held him under 100 yards, getting pressure on Tony Romo, confusing him a little bit. And they need to keep that same game plan versus Seattle. Try to hold Marshawn Lynch under 100 yards and keep Russell Wilson in the pocket. That means their ends are going to have to contain, not get past Russell Wilson, keep him in that pocket, stay physical on the outside, and they've got a great chance of winning that game.
Here on a day where Drew Brees has hit 9 different receivers, Saints have scored 35 points. Brees has thrown 5 touchdowns, and not one time all day has he thrown a pass to Jimmy Graham.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. This might be the only time he catches a ball all day today on this onside kick.
On the onside kick. Now watch the ball go right to him, too. And he dropped it.
Error on the shortstop. Of course, he was a basketball player. Going back to his days of the Miami Hurricanes. Forward for 4 years, following the footsteps of one Donovan McNabb for the Orangemen of Syracuse.
Oh, look at the slim Thundercat right there, looking sexy. I tell you, explosive on the basketball court.
Hey, you played in it. We were talking on the way over here today. Not only did you play basketball for Syracuse, but one of the great programs under Jim Boeheim for 35 years, whatever he's been there now. You actually had a chance to be in uniform and were there for the national championship game against Kentucky.
Yes, I was there. If you take a look at the highlights, I was 3rd seat from the end when you include the head trainer, Don Lowe. I was a phenom when it came to warm-ups and also at halftime, hitting 3-point baskets. But you know what? It was a great run. We ended up losing to Kentucky. It was a fun experience and one that I always remember.
And, you know, what's interesting is you had a chance to go up against your former high school teammate,
yes,
who went on to Kentucky and later in the NBA for many years, Antoine Walker.
Yeah, Antoine and I, it's funny, you know, we end up leaving Mount Carmel High School in Chicago, Illinois. He ended up going to Kentucky. I went to Syracuse, played both sports at Syracuse, and just to watch the success that he had. And I was so proud of him. That game was his last game, actually, against us in the national championship game. Decided to go. He was a lottery pick in the NBA draft, played with the Boston Celtics for years. Then he left there and won a championship in Miami. But, you know, I was just so happy for him because he was a great player. He was determined. You know, good things happened for him. So Mount Carmel High School, for all of you listening, watching the game, yeah, it's a great program in Chicago, coached by Frank Lindsay in football.
We saw Taylor there shaken up again, wrapped up here by Harrison. But Taylor stays in the game, as this will take us down to the 2-minute warning. What a business trip it has turned out to be, coming to Pittsburgh for the New Orleans Saints. They have taken it right to Big Ben and the Steelers.
Got
2 minutes to go. And the Saints trying to tie a ribbon around this one.
You know, they've had trouble finishing games, and what a better way to finish games than just give it to Mark Ingram and just let him run.
I mean, you look at the balance, and Sean Payton will be the first to tell you, in 2009 when they won it all, 2011 when they had a great year, they lost in the playoffs. You know, both of those years they had the 6th best rushing offense in the NFL.
Yeah.
And here this year they're up to number 8. Well, we asked him the other day, and I admired his honesty. You know, I asked him, I said, I keep reading and hearing a lot of people say that there's something missing with your offense.
Right.
And he said there's no doubt about it. He said, you know, you go back, we had Reggie Bush for a long time. We had Darryl Sproles, that home run hitter, if you will. And that certainly has been something that they have been missing this entire year. Welcome so many of you watching from around the country alongside Donovan McNabb and Carissa Thompson, Mike Pereira, Tom Brenneman, our entire Fox crew here in Pittsburgh. Well, I'm not sure anybody saw this coming. Steelers on quite a roll. Coming in at 7-4 in the rough and tumble AFC North, where every team had won 7 games. You know all about the NFC South. Early on, Pittsburgh dominated the first quarter and a half, but then the Saints, over a 6-possession span, scored 5 touchdowns to just run away and hide.
You know, spreading the ball around to 9 different receivers, and one of them not being Jimmy Graham. You look at the effectiveness of the run game with Mark Ingram, the way the defense had been playing, Cameron Jordan getting a couple sacks in this game, Gillette, Brian applying pressure. The corners, have they played, Keenan Lewis as well as Robinson. Tip your hat off to this New Orleans Saints team because they came ready to play today.
They sure did. It's been a good game for this guy, Le'Veon Bell. And he is hit by Vaccaro. And that draws a penalty flag.
Personal foul, late hit out of bounds, number 32 defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
This young man's a solid safety in this league. He came from the University of Texas, early draft pick by the New Orleans Saints, and have continued to just get better. I thought with he and Jarius Byrd back there at the safety position, they would be the best duo on the defensive end. But Jarius suffered a season-ending injury, which kept him out there by himself. But, you know, that was just another great play. He plays with his heart on his sleeve.
Bell spins out of a tackle, and he's inside the 42-38 as we're down to the final 40 seconds. Well, the Bengals hung on and won their game by 1 in Tampa Bay. So they go to 8-3-1. The Ravens are leading, but there's still 1:46 to go in that one. It's a tight one.